it made me realize that anything can be taken from anyone at any given time. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
You could be at the top of the game, right? And something happens to you, regardless of what it is, whether it's market-driven, personal, life, divorce, family, health, gone.
This is the first time I'm giving anyone an introduction here, right? Because I believe you deserve it, right? So let's go through it. So Brian, you joined West Capital Lending back in December of 2024, and you quickly made your mark. So in 2025, you funded 235 loans. And of that, you had $47 million in production. It's huge, dude. So for you, I want to say right now, first of all, if you compare that to the average loan officer who's doing about 21 loans a year, you're 10xing him. I don't know if you've taken time to think about that, but absolutely incredible results. Let's jump into the podcast. How'd you do it?
Thank you for having me, first and foremost, man. I'm enjoying this moment with you. Being here is a treasure. It's a privilege, and I appreciate the platform and the time. I didn't even know that was an average number for anyone else. And I say that because I just didn't know. I come from an environment of high production requirements in general, which kind of shaped and molded me into who I am today outside of just the God-given path. And I don't know how to answer that question other than just the desire, the want, the need. It's never enough, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Which is good and bad. I'm learning to balance that a little bit better now. But dude, I know what I did last year, but I didn't know the difference between the average and that.
Totally.
I kind of got a wake-up call recently about it from our partners over at Rocket Pro, who shared with me some insights on my statistics from Rocket Pro last year. And that was mind-blowing because I didn't feel like I had that kind of year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I performed at that level, if you want to hear the truth.
That's awesome. Because that means you've got room to grow, even more room, right?
Yeah.
What's really cool, so I'll actually break down that stat a bit further. So it's actually, the range is 18 to 25, but I just kind of went straight in the middle at 21.
Okay.
So
that's for the year.
That's for the year.
Okay.
Yeah, for the average LO in America. And that's from National Mortgage Professional.
Okay.
So I don't know how they created that data, but they pulled it. My question for you is, you're doing 10 times the amount of production as the average loan officer compared to the average loan officer. Do you feel like you're doing 10 times the work?
I work really hard.
Yeah?
Yeah. Anyone who knows high production knows how much they put out.
Mm-hmm.
My days start early, they end late. There's no secret formula to success, man.
Yep.
It's the truth. I don't care who you are, where you are, in what field. You can be a grocery store employee. God bless them. I worked at a fast food joint when I started my career in just the professional world. You got to work hard to get to where you want to go. And I know that I worked really hard last year, but I left a lot of meat on the bone. And I say that because I know there's room to grow in areas that I can look back and play the tape back. And looking in my last 12 months of just inventory, I had more room there. I had more room there. I had more room there. It's almost like talking to my younger self.
Totally.
I'm 41 years old right now, and I could look back when I was in my 20s and even 30s and say, you did this wrong. You did that wrong. Yeah. You can make this better. So
when did you get into mortgage?
Actually, just had this conversation with someone last week at one of our lenders. I got into mortgage when I was 18 years old. 17 going to 18.
So you went to the school of mortgage.
I got a pretty interesting introduction to it, to be frank.
Right.
I started in a garage, if you want to hear the truth.
Damn.
My story of my mortgage journey starts in a garage in Anaheim, California for a guy named Jerry Ryan. I was telemarketing for him, just calling old title leads. This is back in 2003. Some people watching this probably weren't even born back then.
Yep.
Maybe a few, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because I just had this in-depth conversation with someone at one of our lenders, like an executive of the company, because he was asking me a question. We were sitting at dinner and he was like, how did you get into this business, man? You just sound different than most people. And I said, honestly, it was very young. God intervened. I worked at In-N-Out Burger before that. Shout out In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out
It's a
Burger.
great place, dude.
Yes. I never thought I was going to leave there.
Yeah.
In-N-Out, I thought, was my path for my life.
No way, dude.
Great company, customer service centric, everything. I thought that was where I would end up forever.
Okay.
Not because I didn't see something bigger for myself. I just respected the company so much. And quite frankly, they do well financially for flipping burgers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more to it. They're running a business, but it also at the same time was like, I'm never leaving here. Why? I've already found the treasure island, paradise. And this gentleman called into my high school when I was renewing a work permit because I was under 18 years of age. So I needed a work permit to sign off by the school to say he's making grades so he can work. Think of it like that.
Okay.
You can't be failing at school and then go work at the same time. It wasn't a thing back then. I don't know how much it is now, but
totally.
Long story short, he called into my school, said, I'm looking for someone who can telemarket, talk to good people on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
My only experience with customers at that point was just in face at In-N-Out ordering, right? That was it. And the lady who was running the career center at the time said, I think the guy you're looking for just walked in the door, which was me standing in the doorway waiting for her to get off the phone so she could sign my renewal.
Yep.
So I can continue working In-N-Out. And she comes to me and says, hey, this guy called in down the street from the school, says he's willing to pay you $15 an hour to just call people. And I was like, what? At the time I was making $8.50.
Yeah.
This is 2003.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm making money in my mind. I'm helping my mom out, helping my mom pay her rent, all this stuff, man. Didn't even know what a mortgage was, by the way. We rented my whole life. I grew up poor, brother. Poor. Grew up in a tough neighborhood in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhoods, because we moved around a lot in Section 8 housing. Didn't even know what a mortgage was. Had no clue. All I knew is she said $15 an hour, and she said cash. And I was making $8.50. I was like, I found Treasure Island again.
Right. Dollar signs.
Moved, changed my life forever. Been in it ever since. I tried to get out once.
Yeah.
And then it pulled me back in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What made you consider leaving?
I got chewed up and spit out by it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast, man. This industry is not for the faint of heart. Real estate, mortgages, loans, finance, high stakes, high rewards. That's what this business is, right? Mm-hmm. And I was young. I was 20 years old, 21, 22, living in Los Angeles. I had moved from Orange County to Los Angeles, thinking I lived the life. I was hanging out on Sunset Boulevard, going out to all the restaurants. I was working at one of the top lenders at the time called AmeriQuest Mortgage. Anyone even knows who they are? Some of the people watching this that are old school might. Countrywide, if you hear any of those names.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talk to people about the mortgage industry and my history in it, I'll talk to older people who've been in the business for 30 plus years and they look at me and they're like, how do you know all this?
Right.
Because to them, I look young.
Yep.
And then I'll talk to the young crowd and they're like, I've read that in papers. I've read that online, right? About the meltdown, about this, about that. And I'm like, dude, I've lived it all. So it chewed me up and spit me out when the financial crisis, because I was a kid making money, living in Los Angeles, working at a mortgage place with friends, having a good time. And the industry just shut down in 2000. The financial crisis of 08, 07 is really when it started, 08, 09. And I was like, this isn't fun. What is this? I remember what I said earlier. I didn't know what a mortgage was when I started.
Right.
What is a financial crisis? Like I was young. Keep that in mind. I was a child. I was 22 years old. I was legally an adult, but like mentally, you're not who you are today. I'm not who I am today then. Yeah. And long story short, I tried to get out of the business. At that point, I was like, I'm going to go be a fireman. I'm going to change the trajectory of my life and I'm going to go be a fireman.
So let me ask you, one of the things you mentioned that got you into the industry was essentially money. And back then, it was relative to double your income.
Yes.
And obviously, as soon as you got out of that initial situation, it must have been a lot more. How are you comfortable potentially thinking about going down from earning a considerable amount of money as a 22-year-old to now becoming a fireman and being on a salary that I'm assuming would be a lot less?
Comfort. And I say that because it was also a dream I had as a child growing up.
Okay.
Like my mom and I would talk about like, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? You know, I told her I wanted to be either a newscaster, like an anchor.
Oh, sick.
Something like this.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was always just like, I want to be an anchor or whatever that was, because I saw him on the TV. So I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that or a fireman, because just like you, I'm a tall guy. My mom was like, you can help people. You have a good heart. So she always put that in me, right? Yeah. So that was the reason why. And I knew they did well, but in contrast to mortgage 10x. Is it different? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful life. I have first responder friends who are crushing it.
No, I think it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know what you're saying. The
talking about
contrast.
the money contrast,
of
right?
10x, highest mountain possible mortgage, highest mountain possible real estate. That's a different lifestyle than highest anything, you know?
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just interesting because I've spoken to lots of people,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people have a similar story when it comes to their introduction to mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time you get introduced to mortgage because it's such an amazing industry for earning money, right?
It's lucrative.
The potential is just uncapped, especially if you're at the right place. And then there usually comes a point in everyone's career where they have to find some level of purpose.
Yeah.
And it sounds like in yours, that was around that '08 crash. And you thought, okay, well, look, if the mortgage industry isn't it, maybe I'm going to find my purpose back in what would be completely altruistic and help other people and become a fireman.
Yeah.
That's really dope. How did you get back on track with mortgage, right? And how did you find your purpose again after that?
So it was interesting because that story itself, I wanted to be a fireman. Okay. There's a lot you got to go through to be a fireman or anything, right? In a first responder world or really, that profession or career.
Mm-hmm.
Pass exams, pass tests, everything. I'll be frank with you, during that time was a dark time in my life too, because I was pretty depressed about the financial crisis and what it did to me. Like I lost everything I had, but I was 22, lost the cars that I had, everything that meant something that I thought was important, right? The values that I thought, I have a car, I have multiple vehicles, I got this, I got that, I got this property in LA that I'm living that good life. All that goes away. All of it. I literally end up sleeping on my sister's couch in Anaheim. I come back. I lost it all.
That's insane.
So I was 22. Luckily, at that point, I'm not 42 with a family. God forbid, because that's tough, right? But I was in a dark space, man. It took me a while. And then I met my wife, as I told you off camera. Like, we've been together for a long time. I met her at that time. She helped me get out of it. Wanted to be a fireman. Didn't work out. It just didn't happen. And then I get a phone call from one of my friends who works at Bank of America. And he's like, hey, we're hiring at the bank. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And he's like, well, it's an interesting position because it's for what's called loss mitigation. So back during the financial crisis, there'd be loan modifications done, if you recall.
Yep.
I'm taking people down a path right now that most may not know.
I know loan mods. I don't know what they were like back in 2008 though.
So I was doing mods at Bank of America for Bank of America customers. So if you were a client, Jade, and you called in, said, I need help. I'm behind on my mortgage, or my husband just lost his job. The financial crisis is affecting us. Whatever that was, I would be the guy that would help create the modifications for you. I was doing like 80 mods a month, and everyone else was doing like 10. And the reason why is not because it was a race. It was because there was no financial incentive at all. Like I got paid the same because it was all salary or hourly. Just going back to memory, there was no commission.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if I did 10 or if I did 80. I got paid the same as the person sitting in the cube next to me. And I remember sometimes people would say something to me like, why are you doing so many? Like, it doesn't really change anything. I'm like, are you listening to what you're saying? We're here to help people.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you're saying on the money side, but what about the human that we're trying to help people? So that was my introduction back into the business because I needed to make some money. Quite frankly, like I said, I was in a dark spot. Didn't know what I was going to do. I lost everything. My buddy's like, come back quick. You can make a quick salary. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Again, financial mortgage industry. He's like, you have the knowledge. I'll make sure you get hired, because he worked there already. And then he's like, it could transition into other things. You never know. Right. And I was like, you know what? It's a job, right? 22 years old at the time. I need the job. I need the money. And I went and did it and never looked back.
So that's really cool. So you found the purpose in helping people through these loan modifications.
Yeah.
The stories you must have experienced on the phone must have been crazy.
I related a lot because I had lost everything myself. So now when I actually look back on it as you're saying it, it makes sense, because that's when I found it again. Like, they were telling me about their problems, but they had no idea that I was dealing with my own crisis personally. But I found resolve in helping them.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. So now you've come through this experience, and you're doing volume in a situation whereby you don't necessarily need to do it.
Mhm.
And would you say that you going through that experience completely changed the direction of your mortgage career? Do you think you would have been the same loan officer today if you hadn't have gone through that experience?
No, because it was traumatic.
Yeah.
I think trauma will change you for better or for worse, for sure.
What differences have you implemented in your life and your business because of it?
Gratitude, humility. I think most people who know me will tell you, and I'm not looking for anyone's personal opinion of gratitude. I was like, I don't need you to tell me that for me to live my life the way I do. Right. But it's changed my life in that sense. Like, it grounded me, man. It made me realize that anything can be taken from anyone at any given time. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
You could be at the top of the game, right? And something happens to you, regardless of what it is, whether it's market driven, personal, life, divorce, family, health, gone. Gone.
That's very humbling.
So that's the way I try to live my life, man.
You know what's so interesting too in that case? Like, a lot of people, whether it is consciously or completely subconsciously, attach their self-esteem to the things that they have.
Yes.
And if you lose everything, you lose your self-esteem. So I think going through an experience that you went through, I can only imagine how, being young, it's very easy to attach your self-esteem to the lifestyle that you have too.
Yeah.
And when that gets ripped away from you, you have to actually learn through first-hand experience to build that self-esteem from you as a person. And it's very interesting how we started off this conversation talking about how much volume you do compared to the average loan officer, how much more you work. And there was a period of time when you had the option to not work as hard as you did during these loan modifications because there's no incentive financially, yet you still did it. Right?
Yeah.
So the motivation wasn't self-esteem driven towards financial gain. It was more so driven towards you actually just doing the best job for yourself. Is that what carries you through today? Is that what keeps you going right now?
Yeah, it also stems from my family. My mom, like, she had nothing. She was an immigrant, man. She had nothing. Like, I think about that all the time. Like, your family's from Europe, right?
Yep.
Is that right? My mom's from Mexico. My family's from Mexico. Like, sometimes I think about that. Like, we're adults now. We can have this conversation. We're big boys.
Yep.
People listening, they're big boys and girls. Think about where your family came from and what they endured to come here. Like, my mom crossed the United States border in 1978. No cell phone, no iPhone, no quick AI transition of what does this mean? What does this say? Can you help me today? Right?
Yep.
Nothing like that. Just pure faith, a leap of faith to change your life and the family that you're trying to build, because that's what most people come here for, right? Or a country that they look for.
She's doing it for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's, so my point in saying that is my mom instilled that value in me. Like, help people like me, because regardless of who you are, where you are in the world, like, I treat you the same way, man. I'm talking at our building where we are right now, or anywhere where I am. I talk to the porter, the busboy, the valet, the same way I talk to the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how I am, man.
That's very cool, dude.
Thank you, bro.
So let's talk about right now, right? I want to hear about what you're doing day to day, because you mentioned that you work long hours. You mentioned that you put a lot of work in to get the results that you have. How do you structure your day to be able to, because you mentioned you also have 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
How do you structure your day to find some level of balance, but yet still produce at a rate that's essentially 10x the average loan officer?
It's just, you have to find balance and structure, which for me is just my personal time, which starts at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm a gym guy. Now, I wasn't before. I wasn't in my entire life. I've lost a lot of weight, got really healthy. It's changing my life. That's my dopamine.
Yep.
That's my dopamine. It's like doing something physically that I never thought I'd be able to do.
Yep.
And that changes the trajectory of my day, my weeks, my year, my months, everything. So that's where it starts for me. So when I tell you it, people who work hard know how much it takes, like yourself, like other successful people out there, they're not sleeping until 8 a.m. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. Unless they're on vacation. But that's even questionable, but that's how I structure my day.
So walk me through your day, I guess. Let's go from start to finish.
I'll get up at 4 in the morning. I'll have my carbohydrate drink, getting ready to go, drink my G1M Sport. I'll drink.
It's good drink, isn't it?
Yes.
I actually had that recently. I had the orange flavor.
BPN. Love BPN. Go one more, baby. That's what it's all about. I'll have my stuff lined up. I'll drink all my drinks, meaning water, carb, the G1M Sport. I'll have a pre-workout on my way to the gym. I'm in the car driving by 4:45, 5 a.m. in the morning. And by the way, what's funny is when I started at Westcap, I would be stressed out at 5 a.m. The reason why is because I thought I had to be on the phone working with people for example, we do loans on all sides of the country, right? I'd be stressed out already. And I realized over time, that's not a way to live, man. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. What are you stressed out about? If you're stressed out about that, there's something wrong with the expectation you're setting for yourself or the people around you setting that expectation upon you.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, essentially, you don't own your day.
You don't.
Like, you're waking up with all this cortisol and you're like, it's completely self-imposed.
So my point is, like, you have to find as a human what works for you, what makes sense. And there's people who work at 5 a.m. all over the world, dude, and all night. And whatever works for you works for me. That didn't work for me. So my point of what I'm telling you when I structure my day is I'm in the car, driving to the gym, 5 a.m., workouts going. I see people at the gym that you see every day. I see GB, Giorgio Bertol, president of sales. He's at Lifetime, right?
Yeah.
I see my guy, Dan, who's my assistant, who helps me with everything that I do. And other people, Josue. I see other people from the mortgage industry. I'll work out with other friends at other gyms. So it's really cool, man, because I'll set the foundation of my day, right, with people that I care about and also for myself. Because selfishly, that's my time. Because I can't do that or replicate that time at 5:30 in the afternoon or 5 p.m. And the reason why is because I had kids, man. I had 3 children. Selfishly, if I take away from them, like, to me, that's like, what foundation are you setting for your family?
That's also what you're doing it for, right?
Yes. So you have to find the time that you otherwise wouldn't have. Starting work by 7:30, 7:45, 8 a.m. Right in there. Okay? 8 a.m., 7:30, whatever that is. Business is coming. Business is humming all day long. Callbacks, bonzo, texting, emails. I am having what I like to call the knife fight in the phone booth. All day long. I'll knife fight in the phone booth because you're just literally all day long moving, grooving loans, pushing through processing, underwriting, calls, sales, quotes. It's exhausting. It really, really is.
Totally.
It's a lot. And you do that on a day-to-day basis, compounding that on a weekly basis to a monthly basis to an annual basis. I mean, now you talk about a lot of stuff.
So here's my question.
Sure.
So every day you're getting more new leads come in.
Yeah.
So like you said, the key word there is compounding.
Yeah.
It becomes more and more unmanageable until it eventually breaks, right? Yes. For some people.
Yeah.
Which is when you burn out and then you have to take a long vacation, you restart again.
Yeah.
How do you manage, right, your pipeline right now? Like, do you have a system whereby essentially you're, I guess, going through maybe like retreads and then you're going through new leads, or like, how do you manage your new leads versus current clients you're working with on a daily basis?
Great question. So, I mean, I'm so new, technically. I've been at Westcap for a year, a little over that.
Yep.
The retreads are there, but they're not. Like, they are, but they're not.
Yep.
Like, sure, a few far and in between, not that many. But it's more so just when those come back, they're great and I'll redo them, no problem. But it's more so just staying on top of hot and warm conversations. And that in itself is an art, because people who could do it at a high level, and I'm not saying I'm the only one, there's plenty of successful people within the company and around the business who do it, right? In Westcap walls and outside Westcap walls that are doing well. It is just knowing that the old-fashioned what's hot, what's not conversation and dialogue still applies today in 2026.
So funny how you say that too, dude. Because I think the main skill of any loan officer, regardless of how good you are at sales, regardless of how smart you are, it's about being intuitive enough to know if something's a deal or something's not a deal.
Yes.
Because you could be the best salesperson in the universe and convince someone who's not going to be able to qualify to move forward with a loan, and you've just wasted 3-4 hours on a deal, right?
Yeah.
So how do you qualify deals quickly?
It's just experience, dude. Yep. Honestly, like, it's actually something that my assistant and I talk about on a daily basis all the time. He's my support. He helps me crush it. He's amazing. His name's Dan, but and like I've just been exposed to a high level volume of clients for a long time.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I'm going to say like a cheat code for me that I have this just experience and God-given talent. Like I worked at Loan Depot for 11 years, man. Crushed it there. Like that company was really good to me. I was really good to them. We did well together, did a high volume of business, met lifelong friends there, met a lot of other people throughout that career there. But the exposure that I had to that many people in a call center, and I'm talking about prospective customers on a day-to-day basis, is what I think the unlock, that's what I'm going to call it, the unlock that gave me the opportunity to really scale my business. Because let's just talk about the average broker, right? 19, 21 deals a year. Let's just say someone does 4 or 5 deals a month. Okay. Times 12 months in a year. The average broker, whether that's purchase, refi, whatever. Correct. I'm looking at 25 to 30 because my mindset is there based on me being in that Loan Depot call center that was required to get there. So it's really just expectation, man.
Yeah.
And in that world that I was in for 11 years, I learned the optics of what's real, what's not, just knowing guidelines, simple stuff. Like you're never going to be perfect, man.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect at all. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
No one is.
Yeah.
Right. But the high volume people are working hard, right? They're working when they work and they know what's a deal and what's not a deal based on just experience.
Yeah.
Like that, you can't replace that.
A lot of it is calibration too.
Yeah.
Like it depends how you get into the industry as a loan officer. You know, I was kind of similar to you, but I wasn't as fortunate. I was in the Pepsi version of Loan Depot, right? Like Loan Depot was Coke. I was at Pepsi. I was at,
So you guys were down the street.
Yeah. Everything for us was outbound, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get nothing warm. We had a few warm transfers was a whole different ball game. It was like someone just touched the phone. Oh, they're there. Just like passing a hot potato. But when you calibrate to an environment whereby you have to have like, I don't know what your requirements were, but it was like 4 hours of talk time a day, right? And it's like, if that's your initial experience in the industry and you're comparing that to someone else who, let's say, is completely self-sourced from the beginning and they've spoke to, let's say, 3 real estate agents today, you're able to outpace them with volume purely because your expectations are different around your day. And you know, like just the same as the way the gym goes, it's like you could lift a weight and do 5 reps if you want. But if you push it to the absolute limit, maybe you can get 20 and you do that every day, you're going to get twice as strong as someone else who does 10, right? It's just about knowing your limits.
Yes.
And being in those situations, like it literally pushes you to your exact limit.
I can tell you right now, I average 6.5 hours to 7 hours of talk time daily. Clients left and right. That's, and I had people around me that pushed me too. Like you have to have a support system that's incredible, whether that's at home with my wife and my 3 children or really close friends that I have still to this day from many other institutions I've worked at. I look back on my path that is nowhere near done. I feel like I'm just kind of I feel like I'm in my prime right now in my career. I can have a conversation with someone who's been in the business for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, and I can have the conversation with someone who's been in the business for 2 weeks. And it would be different, of course, but I can connect with that person easily. So I feel like I'm in my prime. But a lot of what I've learned and when I look back at my career is just the opportunities I've had just by being placed in the right place at the right time and recognizing good people that would help get me to other places. And I'm talking about friends, like relationships, that matters, man. And people pushing me, like there's this famous guy, I'm going to give him a shout out on the YouTube on this, who really took me to another level. His name's Yusuf Shah. You ever heard of Yusuf Shah?
I've heard the name.
Okay. He's a famous Loan Depot alum. He was the number 1 guy there, worked in crazy hours, incredibly successful. I ran into him at the gym the other day and we hugged it out, had a laugh, all that. He now runs his own company and all that. But what I'm trying to tell you is he showed me that you can push harder. Like when you thought you were pushing hard, there's actually someone else pushing harder. When you think that you're doing it big, there's someone else doing it bigger. Does that mean you have to go there? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you have to go there. You can be anywhere you want, man. Just where you feel most content is where you are. But if you really want to scale, there's places you can go to that you've never been if you push with people around you that excite you, that make you motivated, and also within that burning desire within yourself, right? So like I saw him the other day and I thanked him. I told him that. I was like, dude, you made me push to a place that I didn't think I could go to, and I got there because of you. And I let him know that. So like, and then there's many other people along the way, right,
Yep.
who have helped me get there, right? Guys that are at Loan Depot now, at Westcap now, friends outside those walls. It all just is about knowing that there's always a bigger way to do it if you want to. It can be done. It can be done.
Heck yeah. So you did 235 loans last year.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's say we're talking to the average loan officer
Okay.
who's done 20 loans, let's say. How do we get them from 20 to 40? What would you say is the unlock there?
Look at your day. Are you working like you can do whatever you want when you want, which is true, you can, right? We're all in charge of our own day. Or are you working like someone's watching you? I think that's the best way I can say that.
That's a good way of putting it.
Because I work like someone's watching me all the time.
Yep.
All the time. And I say that because I'll give you a perfect example, okay? When you're at Loan Depot or a place like that, a call center, great environment, great job, great company, all that stuff, you are supposed to be there during certain times, certain hours, and have expectations, correct?
Mhm.
When you go to the broker world, which is where we are now in this space,
Yep.
you can do whatever you want. That's right. That's the pitch to everybody. When you're self-employed, when you're a broker, you can do whatever you want. You work when you want, do what you want, all that stuff. That sounds good, but I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here to just take 12 days off, even though I could, but I know that's not who I am, man.
Yep.
I came here to make more, the bigger piece of the pie. That's the allure, right?
Yep.
As opposed to a small piece of the pie, a percentage of commissions and things like that.
Mhm.
You go to the broker world and you go for a bigger piece of the pie. That's why you're there. And if you can 10x that, like, that's what I tell people who come to this space all the time. Like, treat it like you would if you were being watched or managed like you were. And I'll ask them, where did you work last? Let's just say at Loan Depot,
Yep.
Rocket, wherever that was. Treat this like you would there, and your results through the roof.
Yeah.
Because someone's watching.
I mean, what the income would be on average per loan? 20 times the amount you'd make at Loan Depot or any other type of retail mortgage shop,
Could be.
direct lender,
Could be.
right?
Could be.
I mean, there was points where I don't know how low it got for you. I'm sure you were in a much better situation than I was. When I started out, it was $100 per funded loan. Like I was in like a really bad spot, right? And now I look back at it, I'm like, wait a minute. I just funded a loan last month for, I think it was like 1.1-ish, just around 1.1.
Yeah.
20,000. It would have taken me 200 loans, dude.
200 loans my whole year, basically, right?
Are you kidding
to
me?
get to that.
Right?
To get to 20 grand.
So the broker world is like, it's this whole new like space where you can actually give your client a better rate because there's less margin. There's less stuff padded into it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just, like you just said, approach it with the same mindset like you would in a call center type environment or an environment where you have someone breathing down your neck, you're going to just ultimately have drastically better results purely because, yeah, you might be funding the same amount of loans, but you're making drastically more per loan.
Yes.
Right. And it's just so much easier that way.
Yes.
And I guess that's kind of like I guess that's really the prerequisite, right? It's like, are you someone who is self-motivated? If you are, then there's success in the broker world. And there's actually money right there that's being left. Because I think what Westcap have done, which is so special, is that the broker world before Westcap was kind of a little bit sleepy. I don't know what you think, but my impression of it was lots of veteran loan officers who were like, hey, why don't I just go on my own? I'll do a couple loans, got my family, got my stuff going on, and I'll just do some loans on the side. And that was the broker world before Westcap. And Westcap went, wait a minute. We've got a space here where we can play on the basketball court, and we're playing against these guys who barely even want to show up. If we just show up the same way that we're showing up every day for someone else, for someone else's company, right? But we do this for ourselves as self-employed brokers, we can take everyone's lunch because we're working 10 times as hard as they are. And that's literally what you've done. Because like you mentioned, you joined Westcap back in 2024. We're just over a year in, and you've done the same, if not more, I'm assuming, than you would have done at Loan Depot, and had a drastically different return on that too.
Yeah. I mean, all of the above, man. It literally just comes down to, and there's nothing wrong with working to make what you want to make, whatever that is. Like, this is not a talk down. It's not that, dude. It's like, whatever it is. Like I told you, I don't want to start work at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Totally.
I want to start at 7:30, 7:45 so I can pay myself first, gym, clear my mind, give myself my dopamine, which I need that to clear my mind in the day for my client, for myself, for everybody around me. Correct?
Yep.
But you're right. Like the space was previously filled with the broker world of like, hey, let me sponsor my kid's soccer game. Let me sponsor my kid's baseball game. Someone will call me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those are relationships that will last hopefully a long time, right? But like Westcap has built a model along with many other brokerage firms out there that are now like, because all these consumer direct guys, which I'm one of them. I spent 11 years at Loan Depot, and there's a lot of people, men and women, who've worked all really hard in that consumer direct space, Network Capital and all these other places that are coming out, Rocket, who are now like, if I take this and apply it out here, what are the results? What does that look like?
Yep.
That to me that's where it's at. That's where the secret sauce is made. That's the unlock.
Yeah.
So when you ask me, what is the unlock? Work like someone's watching you, even though it's just you, right? Because if you work like someone's watching you, which doesn't mean you have to work 18 hours a day, but just like, don't fall into the trap unless that's what you want. But like, you can't expect to be a number one top producer of anything with any kind of value in that sense if you're not working like you worked at a place that required work.
Totally.
Make sense?
Yeah.
It's not possible, man.
Completely agree with that.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about being on the phones.
Okay.
Because this is something that essentially is unavoidable in our industry, right? You have to be good on the phones.
I love being on the phone.
It's a cool place to be.
I love
right?
it, dude.
Yeah.
That's my space. I love it.
So what would you say? Because there are a lot of people who get into industry, they understand the potential, but they don't necessarily enjoy the phones because it's a skill in itself, right? Like doing mortgages is one thing.
Yeah.
Like you can structure a loan. It doesn't involve having a conversation. You get all the information from the client. You just structure it and figure out what's best, right?
Yeah.
But on the phone call, you have to navigate personalities. You have to navigate emotions, right? What would you say is the biggest mistake that you see novice loan officers make on the phones that's costing them a lot of money?
That's the easy response. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Talking to the client like they need you more than you need them. Us talking to a client like they need you more than you need them.
Yep.
That client is being hounded by 50 people, right? More or less. And for you to talk to them like they need you, like who's Brian Ramos? Who's that? I don't care. If I talk down to you on a call, when you're trying to talk to me about what your goals are, your ambitions, the drive you have, like for what this conversation is, why would you do business with me if I'm talking like to you like a banker, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's number one, without question. I see it happen every day. I've watched it for my whole career. I'm just like, dude, you're crazy. Why would you talk to them like that? Like they don't need you. Don't get me wrong. Not every conversation is sunshine, rainbows, Cinderella stories, right? It's not. But like I take that mantra into every call that I'm on. Like I need that person. That person's paying for my son's school. That person's paying for my home. That person's paying for this. And what I mean by that is not the direct commission structure. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the value that person brings me.
Yep.
So if I brought you value through whatever my services were, then why would I treat you like you meant nothing to me when you actually are helping me achieve my own goals? I'm helping you. You're helping me. Let's treat each other like I'm here to treat you with that level of respect, expertise, and really just humility, man. That's the way I approach every conversation. If you read my reviews online from all my clients, dude, I've amassed over 180 5-star reviews since I started at Westcap.
It's a lot.
Quick. All of them say the same thing in their own words around the country. And I say that because I'm just the same dude, man. I'm the same dude whether you live in Maryland, Virginia, California, Texas, Utah, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's how I approach the call. But that's the biggest mistake that everybody makes because I'm like, why are you talking to them like that, man? Like there's no personality, there's no structure, there's no human element to the transaction.
Well, you know what I think it probably is?
What's that?
Because you and I both know that every loan officer needs the client. Like no loan officer is too good for a phone call.
That's the reason why I said. Like,
so people almost, I think it's a defense mechanism. I think it's almost like an ego protection, right? Because it doesn't feel nice when you get rejected a lot and you're in a position whereby like you almost feel desperate and you're on the phone with someone and you start to lose control of the deal whatever the circumstances, whatever the reason is, you start to lose control of the deal. So there's a lot of people out there, I think, who take that like power dynamic a little bit too far, and they try to almost assert themselves like the expert. So therefore they feel like they need to, I'm this big dog. You're lucky to be speaking to me. Da 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 da.
Yes.
And it's obviously all a little bit of a smokescreen, right? Yeah.
Only if they knew that person was in their jammies talking to you or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Working remote or something.
They're just kicking it. They just got like their sweatpants on.
Yeah. And you're talking to me like you're a trader on Wall Street. You know what I mean?
It's almost like they're trying to force someone to respect them.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's understandable. I get it, right? It's a self-esteem thing, I think, again, right? It's like, I don't feel like I'm in control of these deals. So I've got to make someone else feel bad in order for me to feel good. Yeah. And I think if people just realized, like the way that you approach business, right, is humility is a really important factor in any industry, because like you said, you're never too good for any client and you can always be taken down at any moment. Yeah. But humility is relatable.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to go and have a conversation with someone for an hour and feel belittled or feel smaller or almost feel like, desperate.
Yeah.
Right. Like if someone's coming to you and they're being vulnerable, and when in any type of financial conversation, essentially what they're doing is they're getting naked, right? And they're like, look, here's my life, right? I've really messed up this. I'm in $50,000 worth of credit card debt. My credit score's gone down to 620. This, and then the other person they're listening to the expert they're speaking to on the phone is going, yeah, well, this is what you need to. It becomes very disjointed, and it becomes a bit of an uncomfortable, awkward conversation, even though they're trying to establish some level of authority.
Yeah.
If someone comes to you humble enough to bear themselves and bear their financial situation, you're so right. You need to come back at them humble enough to realize that, well, look, I'm here to help you, but also we're in this together because you're helping me. Yes. Let's go on this journey together.
There's literally no better way to say it, just like you described, because it's a fact. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that you broke it down with the financial. I'm releasing all my financial information to you. I'm undressing myself and my problems to a complete stranger. And sometimes a therapist will say that's easier to do. Yep. Talk to a stranger than you would more so than your own family about your problems, right? Mm-hmm. I've never gauged that, but I'm just saying it sounds easy to do because you're telling them what's wrong. But if you, as that person, just like you said eloquently, that's true. You come in abrasive, angry, you need me more than I need you. That's not true. How many people are calling that person? And the part that I think most people forget about is just, that's a human being on the other end of the phone, man.
Yep.
Again, look, not every conversation is going to go that easy. Like people are going to look at this and say, oh, of course, that's the perfect call. Not every call is perfect. You think I did 200 and some odd loans last year and all of them were perfect?
Yeah.
No. More than half probably were the ones that were tough. I guarantee you, but we turned them around.
Yep.
Because that person believes. They go, you know what? This guy's not judging me. This girl's not judging me, whoever the person, the loan officer, the professional, they're here to help me. And I believe in them. And all these other people believe in them too. And they look at the results of the reviews. Like, that's why, like, I think what's important, man, is the way you approach anything is just how the results will stack up.
Yep.
Right? If you work hard, the results will be there. That's really what it's all about to me. Right? I'm 41 years old. I've been in the business a long time. I've felt burnout maybe once or twice in the business-ish like that. But right now I feel like I'm in my prime, man.
Heck yeah.
And I say that just because I can have all these different conversations with anybody about anything. And realistically speaking right now, man, I value people more than I ever have in my entire life. I think so, without question.
That's really cool. I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
So one of your main, I guess your ethos is kind of approaching deals with humility.
Yeah.
How do you also balance that with showing credibility? You know, because essentially a lot of people, the humility angle is very important for them because they can have an easier conversation.
Yeah.
But they also want to defer to an expert. So how do you kind of display that credibility whilst balancing the humility side of things?
Tones, education back and forth, experience, knowledge. Like someone who's 2 weeks into the business will never have the experience that I do at 41. Mm-hmm. Brian Ramos, who was that telemarketer I told you about at 17, 18 years old, didn't know what a mortgage was back then, cannot dance in the same ballroom that I'm dancing in today. Nice. It's not even possible, right? Yeah. So you just have to understand that it's going to take time. tones, education, product knowledge, back and forth. Like think of this as just like a ping pong game, right?
Yep.
Right? We're just going back and forth talking right now, unscripted. How many people can do that and have a complete dialogue and conversation? This is the same thing with the customer. When you do it for so long, for so many repetitions, it just becomes easy, right? And it's a gift too, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I know God has placed gifts in me as he does everybody else for reasons that are for them. This is my gift, people. And when I connect with them, they can tell, like, this guy knows his stuff. He's more responsive than everybody. I've actually had customers tell me this. The way you approach business is completely different than anyone else I talk to. Everyone else is cutthroat. They just want the answer. They just want the social. They just want the income. They don't want to ask me questions, right? And that's not what you just asked me. What you just asked me is, how do they gain confidence in me knowing that, hey, okay, the human part aside, how do I know that you're actually good?
Right.
Tone, education, back and forth, going back, setting examples.
It's also, you actually hit the nail on the head there too. The right questions.
Yes.
I think the right questions are very important.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a good doctor, like they're going to usually get to the root cause of the problem pretty quick, because they're going to ask you a question. You'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't realize I did that. And you're like, boom, right? You get to you find the solution.
Yes.
So talk to me about, because I think most people are pretty good when it comes into, once they've had rapport with the client and you're over the first 15 minutes of the phone call.
Yeah.
You're kind of like coasting at that point. How do you get through the first 15 minutes of the phone call? What kind of questions do you ask initially? How do you start to build rapport up front?
Ask them about who they are, man. Where they are at. You don't have to sound the same on every call. Like, oh, how's the weather in PA today? I never say that, man.
Yeah.
You know, the only time I bring weather up in a call is during the winter months that we're in now, where like our customers in Virginia and Maryland are getting snowstorms, 5 inches of snow overnight.
Yeah.
And it's 80 degrees in Southern California.
Yeah.
So we'll have that chit chat back and forth of like, hey, man, how was it in California today? I'm like, you don't want to know, sir.
Yeah. That's
right?
cool. Yeah, that's
but
cool.
Like, you just connect with human questions, man. Like,
Yeah.
let them know, like, through the technology of Bonzo, which remember when I started in this business, I grew up cutting my teeth on the phone. So me having a conversation, like I said, repetition wise, is so easy to me that now anyone getting into the business or who has been in business, we have technology. You can text, you can just manage and mitigate calls that way. But in the first 15 to 20 minutes, man, just have a real authentic conversation. Just like if you were met someone at a Kansas City Chiefs game, a Laker game, right?
Yeah.
We're just chatting, dude. That's easy. That's the simple part, right? The hard part is the sell, if there's a hard part. But really the sale of that transaction becomes easy when you've created all that, because you've already uncovered the problems.
Yep.
And they know that at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not batting 1,000, man. No one does. I don't care who you are in this business. Doesn't matter, right? But I feel very confident when I stand on my business that I'm on, because I do it the right way.
Yep.
Right? And the 15 minutes is just simple questions of property. What's it like? Oh, how long you lived there? Oh, I've seen your home is 100 years old, man. I talk to people in Pennsylvania whose house was built in 1890.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's 2026.
Yeah.
Your home was built literally 100 plus years ago. Like, we'll have that conversation. Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever found anything in the walls? And they'll like laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like history buffs and stuff like that. But it's just knowing that you're not wasting time. You're just building rapport without them knowing it, but you know that you are.
Yep.
Because you're asking those questions to create a dialogue for yourself and your client to walk hand in hand together. So when you come back and try to sell them on what they need that makes the most sense.
Yep.
I'm saying the word sale or close or whatever is popular to say.
Yeah.
But it's just providing them a solution. That's really what you're doing. You're providing, dude. You're providing them a solution. We could call it a sale. We can call it a close, but it's a solution to your problem that we find together. And then when it's time to take the leap of faith, I hit them with my reviews, which are all real, because they don't know me, just like this, Jay. Like, they're not seeing me on camera. We're not meeting in person. This is all on the phone. So the comfort level has to be superior for that person to really be like, I'm doing business with you and I've never met you in person.
Yeah.
That is an incredible skill set for anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, right? Whether you're selling solar or loans.
Yeah.
But I send them my reviews and they're like, look, my intuition tells me this about you because I could feel it in this call. But now I'm reaffirming that decision because all of these reviews tell the same story in their own words from all over the country.
Yep.
And they're just saying the same thing that I think. So I'm going with Brian.
Nice.
That to me is everything. When I worked at the call center, that wasn't something that I ever hung my hat on. Sure, it was the same thing, but at the call center, you hide behind the big name, right? Rocket, Loan Depot, Nike, the brand, which is beautiful. But what about you? What about the person?
So,
you know,
I like it. So deconstructing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The relationship moves forward into or the rapport turns into a deal once they have trust in you.
Yes.
And the trust initially, for most people when they're working a W-2 job underneath a big direct lender, is the trust of the name of the company.
Yes.
It's the trust of, or whatever mortgage company, for example. When you move into the broker space, it's, yes, the trust of the brokerage, because West Capital Lending has incredible reviews and it's
Same thing.
Huge brokerage. That's one. But within the brokerage, there's also lots of different experiences you can have because everyone is self-employed.
Just like
so it's who do they choose to work with?
Yeah.
So you're saying the trust accelerator is social proof through reviews. And typically, if you can get them to, one, have a warm conversation with you, and two, see the experiences that other people have had with you, it will usually move the needle to them actually going forward and doing the deal.
100%. And I say that because I never had a review page when I was at Loan Depot. It wasn't allowed. Like, technically, it wasn't allowed.
Really?
And that's not any bad thing. It was just that wasn't the process there.
Is that because they own the deal?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's just the mantra of the company, man. Like, and even then, I didn't think to myself, I should create a review page so everyone can say what they want to say about me at Loan Depot, right? It's not even about that. It wasn't a thing. But I've noticed out here now, this is your brand. This is Brian Ramos, the mortgage professional. This is you, right? The mortgage professional, Jane Doe, Sam Smith, whoever that person is. If you're going to have credibility in this space, you can't hide behind the big name brand anymore, which quite honestly, I don't want to do that anymore. And I say that because I'm stepping out into this space, seeing I can have success in it, just like a lot of other people who are successful. And you want to create your own brand, dude. The way you make people feel, they'll remember that forever.
Heck yeah.
That's the reason why, I treat everyone the same, whether I'm talking to the valet or the CEO of a company. They remember how you made them feel, right? And I think about my kids. I think about my wife, right? How would someone make my wife feel? How would someone make my kids feel if I wasn't there, right? The protector in the family. Are they going to take care of them? Because then they'll remember that, right?
Yep.
So a customer will remember how you made them feel, good, bad, or indifferent. And whether that's valid or not because of emotions in the call or whatever is a different conversation, right?
Yep.
Because that could go left, right, and around. But that's important too.
So we figured out your approach to things in this conversation, right? And at the beginning of this conversation, it's funny. It's so funny because your nature is that of just continuous self-improvement. I can very clearly see that because I was hyping you up and I was going, Brian closed 235 loans. And you go, yeah, I closed 235 loans, but I left a lot on the table, right? That just shows me how this for you is just like the starting point. You mentioned you left a lot on the table.
Yeah.
What is it you think you left on the table? And what are you looking to do now to take to that next level this year and next year and moving forward?
It's a great question. I put my value I was rooted in the wrong things. And what I mean by that is, remember earlier in this talk, I told you at 5 a.m. before I was stressed out about, oh my God, I'm not on the phone yet. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That's not who I am, man. That's not who I am. That is not who I am. And I say that because it doesn't mean someone else is that or not.
Yeah.
It's just that wasn't me. That wasn't who I was. So I wasn't true to my own self, the way I do business, right? I'm here to work. I'm here to grind. I'm here to do it well and do it at a high level. But when I was compromising my value by doing things not the way I normally do them and not through my own seeking of just what is real, and what I mean by that comment is just I was putting my stamp of approval on something that didn't really mean much to me, right?
Okay.
So now that I'm taking care of myself, meaning when I say by that, I mean I'm running it my way, right? Yep. I'm up, I'm going, I'm grinding, I'm pushing myself, I'm pushing forward. I'm seeing results already that were better than last year. Yep. Same time, Same time last year. Let's look at the playback.
I love that.
Right? Like, let's look at the tape. This time last year, I wasn't where I am right now. Of course, that's experience. I'm in the broker space now a year later, right?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that I made mistakes last year that I won't make again this year or ever again. So
that's dope.
Now I'm running hard, running fast, bullet train, right?
Yep.
With the right mindset, right vision. No question about it.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and roll, dude.
So the way I think about it, and from what you just said, I feel like you probably think about it the same way. I always use analogies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The team that wins a basketball game is usually the team that's in control of the speed of the game, of the tempo.
Yes.
It's not the fastest team. It's the team who can slow the ball down when they want.
Yes.
And then they speed it up when they want.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious. You could be watching a basketball game. You could have no scoreboard at the bottom right-hand corner, wherever you put the scoreboard. And you could tell who's winning and who's losing. Purely because you can see who's controlling the speed.
The body language.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with life. Like, even though you might be seeing results, if you're moving to someone else's speed, or you're not in control of the momentum in your own life, you are ultimately going to burn out, right?
100%.
Like, the loss is inevitable.
100%.
Because you're moving to someone else's,
100%.
beating someone else's drum. So it's about, like you said, right? Taking control of the day and approaching your business in a way by you feel like you're on top of it, right?
Yes.
Rather than you feeling like a cog in the wheel and you're almost trying to keep up.
Yes.
Right.
It's not even questionable. Like, the leap of faith that I took to leave Loan Depot to come into the broker model was a life-changing decision, meaning my life would be changing drastically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's downstream effects to that decision, good and bad, right? There are. Whether you feel it in month 6, week 7, or month 9, you feel it.
Yep.
And it comes fast and it comes hard because we're all human, man. Something's going to occur where you're either going to take off or you have to slow down and dial it back a little bit and make adjustments, right?
Yep.
And my year last year was amazing. Like I said, I found out through our Rocket Pro partners, man, that I was number 3 at Westcap and Rocket wholesale closings.
That's incredible.
In my first year, behind 2 other guys that are monsters at the business too.
Yep.
First year, man, Rocket Wholesale. I was like, dude, that's incredible. You know, out of all by the way, this is at Rocket Pro's biggest account, which is Westcap, right? At the biggest brokerage firm in the country. So I was like, where does that put me in the nation? They're like, oh man, in the nation, you're like, out of all the Rocket Pro accounts we have, because that's what we're talking about right now, right?
Yep.
The whole country, all brokerage firms. You're probably top 7 individuals.
That's huge.
I was just like, dude, that is awesome. It made me feel good because I knew that I left something on the table. And what I mean by something on the table is I wasn't satisfied. It was just, like you just said, I wasn't working how I would.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't because I wasn't working hard. I was working hard, boss, right? But I was trying to work to I was working to someone else's speed, not mine.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now I'm working to my speed. Everything is in sync. If you look at me in the eye right now and on this video, lights out.
Yeah.
I'm chasing something, right?
Yep.
Which is, I'll grab it. I'll get there. Just like everybody else who does work hard, man.
Yep.
You know? But I feel good right now, man. I
love
feel
that.
real good. Feel good on the phone, feel good in life, feel good at home.
Yep.
Like my unlock is I'm rooted in the right foundation.
That's cool.
The right principles. That's what I'm all about. Period.
I love to hear that, dude.
Thank you, man.
That's dope.
Thank you. I got good people supporting me too, man. I can't say that enough. You have to have a good support system.
Yeah.
It's not just me, man.
Yeah.
My wife is amazing. My kids are awesome. My assistant who helps me at work. He's my work wife. You know, that's what he's my guy, dude.
Yeah.
Dan takes me to another level. My friends, they help me, man. They keep me grounded. They check in on me. I check in on them. Amazing guys, right? You have to have that or else everything you're doing it for means nothing, dude.
Yep.
Nothing.
So what would you say, I guess as a closing statement here, what would you say is your biggest motivation every day? And what would you say to someone who's losing motivation in the industry and they're struggling right now?
Let's start off with what I would say to someone. It's going to get hard and it's going to get tough. And it never is always easy. Even for me today, it's not easy, right? Getting up at 4 a.m. sounds insane, dude. 4:15, I got to do it though. I got to. 4:30, like those times early. But there's people getting up around the world every single day doing hard work. everywhere, whether they're making financial mortgage money, real estate money, or, big uncapped gains, or whether they're working a salaried hourly job, man. People are working hard. And what I always think about is I think about what got me started. So I would tell that person, think about what you started for. Why did you start? Why did you chase this dream? What was it back then that made you take that leap of faith? And for me, that was easy. I grew up poor, man. Grew up poor. Watching my mom suffer, watching my family suffer. Didn't have much. So that conversation of me earning that hourly wage that was an increase, it changed everything, and helping my family out at that time. Providing a life and value for my family and enriching the life of others along the way. Not always through monetary gain, just experience, life, friendships, bonds.
Yep.
That's everything to me. So that's why I started. And that's what gets me up every day. Self-improvement, right?
Heck yeah.
Chasing a common goal with friends, right?
Yep.
And what keeps me going, just simple. And that's what I would say to that person. What got you started? Go back to that. Because that lightning in a bottle that you once found, that you had in your heart and in your soul, that now is dissipated because the market chewed you up and spit you back out like it did to me in 08 and 09, go back to that. You have to find it again. And sometimes it takes people a while, man. It took me a while. It took me years. And I found it, right? And then my runway took off at Loan Depot.
That's amazing.
And then now it's just completely going through the roof here at WestCap, right? And in the broker space. And then for myself, what motivates me every day is my wife and my family. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's all. That's the critique of who I care for. I don't need your approval. No disrespect intended.
Yeah.
I don't need anyone else's approval. I don't need my customers' approval. I don't need anyone's approval. I need the approval of my 3 children. I need the approval of my wife.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it right there, which is what my goal is every day, I want my kids to look at me and say, hey, that's my dad. That's my pops, right? Physically, mentally, and emotionally, lights out. No one's perfect. We're all going to fall. But that's my motivation every single day.
That's so cool, dude.
Thank you, man.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
you
you
for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate that, man.